Good day guys, welcome back. In this video we are going to talk about AGL. Why AGL? Because obviously there is a big takeover proposal from Mike Cannon-Brookes, an Australian billionaire, with his Grok Ventures company in collaboration with Brookfield Asset Management. We sort of wonder if this billionaire willing to pay $7.50 a share, is it worth it to buy AGL now? Or is it still a dividend trap? The answer is complicated. I can only give you what I've learned after reading 10 annual reports of AGL from 2011 to 2021. And I'm going to share with you what I've learned because I have identified two main problems with AGL. One is financing. Second is the people, not the AGL employee, but the upper management, the board members, the directors. Let's start with the share price history. The past 4 years, since 2017, anyone who's invested in AGL would have lost a lot of money. At least 50% of their money. And I've seen a lot of content who referred AGL as a perfect example of a dividend trap. Well, in 2017, AGL reached its all-time high market capitalization of $17 billion. And after that, it drops down to about $4.6 billion at the share price about $7.40. And Mike Cannon-Brookes want to buy it for $7.50. So maybe AGL board member doesn't agree with that price. And on the bottom chart, I also included the PAT, the profit after tax. You can see in 2016, they have a net loss of about $500 million. And in financial year 2021, they reported the biggest net loss for the past 10 years of about $2 billion. Why is that? Not only that, for the past 10 years, I think AGL board member and the directors is doing what I call unsustainable dividend payout policy. That is, when they have actually a net loss and still paying dividends to the shareholders. On this chart here, you can see the blue bar is the profit after tax. When they are smaller than the red colored bar, which is the amount of dividends paid, that's not a good thing because a company is supposed to give out excess cash, excess profit as a dividend, not the other way around. And they did this in 2012, 2015, and even in 2016, where they pay out about $400 million of dividend. And amazingly, with a negative loss of $2 billion in 2021, they still pay out a dividend to the shareholders over $500 million. And this is the track record for the past 10 years. In my opinion, this is not a great move because they need a lot of cash, which we will talk about later, to decarbonize the power industry in Australia. If you sums out the profit after tax for the past 10 years, it comes up to about $3.7 billion. And if you add up all the dividend paid to the shareholders, it's about $5.6 billion. So profit of 3.7 and the dividend of 5.6 billion, that doesn't sound like a good financial management. But I can be wrong, so let me know if you think otherwise. Second problem is the people. It's more difficult. I'm not talking about the employee, but I'm talking about the upper management, the board member. We'll go through each of them after this. But what they're proposing recently is that a demerger of AGL, which in their opinion will help them achieve the decarbonization goal for AGL. So they will split AGL Australia into two entities, AGL Australia and AGL Energy. And here is where the board member got it wrong again. They said the post-demerger entities, AGL Energy and AGL Energy, will have a clear dividend policy of at least 60 to 100% of the profit after tax will be given out as a dividend. I don't think that's a wise move because we need billions of dollars to decarbonize our coal plant as soon as possible. And we may actually need to invest more in research and development to find a viable and economical way to store renewable energy. And on this chart here, this is the track record of the board member, the management for the past 10 years. As we all know, utilities, a power company, will have a low return on equity. The only way they can be super profitable is when they include a lot of debt, leverage. And for the net loss reported in 2016, in 2021, and they blame their low profitability because of the 50% drop of the wholesale electricity price. So after looking at the 10 annual reports, I started seeing why Mike Cannon-Brookes and Brookfield Asset Management want to own 100% of AGL. They don't want 50-50. They don't want 20-80. They want 100%. Because I think the problem is much deeper than what we think. What we're talking about here in this video is only a tip of the iceberg. Who knows, there may be some political interest that we may not know about. Because the current plan, if Mike Cannon-Brookes didn't end up buying AGL at all, is a demerger plan. And the demerger plan, they said AGL Energy will need about $4.1 to $4.7 billion to generate 2.4 to 2.7 gigawatts of energy. And they said they are targeting to start the investment in 2023 and 2024 within a couple of years. In my opinion, that sounds like a wishful thinking. $4 billion. Because if you look at AGL balance sheet for the past 10 years, the yellow bars are the debt to equity ratio and the blue one are the liability to asset ratio. In 2021 is the highest debt to equity ratio of about 180%. And with the declared liability of 9.9 billion and a net asset of 5.5 billion, how are they gonna finance 4.1 to 4.7 billion to achieve this decarbonization goal? Comes back to the dividend policy that I criticized earlier. If you keep distributing your profit, which sometimes you don't have, how are you gonna suppose have enough money to switch to the renewables energy? And more problem with the people is that the resignation of the CEO, Brett Redmond, which I think is really odd because he's only 50 years old. 50, and the salary is not bad. The package is at least $2 million a year. And according to the April 2021 ASX announcement, Mr. Redmond said that he could not make the long-term commitment post the demerger of AGL. I don't buy that. But what's interesting is that Brett Redmond is also hold a current directorship as a chair of Australian Energy Council. Maybe in that role he realized that AGL is not doing enough for their decarbonization plan. So Brett left, and as a replacement we have Graham Hunt, who used to be the chairman, as the managing director for now, and we have Peter, who used to be a managing director of Oil Search, an oil production company. Now obviously you think that we need someone like an Australian Elon Musk, someone who's been dealing with billion-dollar business, someone who has a passion in commercializing, in creating jobs through renewables energy. Because I believe Australia has unlimited amount of number of renewables that we still haven't explored. Maybe this is the candidate. The passion is there, but a bit too aggressive. Maybe this university student who said he could do a better job. Or maybe it's Mike Cannon-Brookes. He's young, he's got the money, but I think it's gonna be a difficult negotiation